everyone. Today we are going to deal with a one act play by George Bernard Shaw. The play is titled How He Lied to Her Husband. Before moving on to the play, let's look into George Bernard Shaw's bio briefly. Shaw was born in Dublin on 26th July 1856. He didn't receive a systematic education in Dublin. He was a self taught man. He read Dickens, Defoe, and Shakespeare early in his life. Shaw began his literary career as a novelist in 1879. He couldn't find a publisher for his early novels. Though he wasn't a successful novelist, early novels taught him how to write. His fifth novel, An Unsocial Socialist, was the first to go into print in 1884. He started writing plays in 1885 and eventually became famous for his role in revolutionizing comedic drama. His literary contributions made him win both an Oscar and Nobel Prize. Moving on to his major works, his first play, Widowers' Houses, was produced in 1892, which had a mixed review. His third play, Mrs. Warren's Profession, dealing with prostitution, was banned by the censor. Other plays followed Candida, You Never Can Tell, The Devil's Disciple, and Caesar and Cleopatra. He reached the peak of his career as a dramatist with Saint Joan, which was produced in 1924. Saint Joan was chiefly responsible for his being awarded the Nobel Prize for Literature in 1925. How He Lied to Her Husband is a one act play. It is a hilarious comedy. G.B. Shaw wrote this play in response to Arnold Daly's request. Arnold Daly is an American playwright. He was an American playwright and actor. He wrote it in 1904 during 4 days while he was staying in Scotland. It includes only 3 characters: Teddy, the husband, Aurora, Teddy's wife, Henry, Aurora's lover. It is set in the drawing room of the couple's flat located on Cromwell Road in London. Now, moving on to the plot of the play. It is 8 o'clock in the evening. Henry, the poet lover, a beautiful youth of 18, comes in alone to Aurora's house with a bunch of flowers in his hands. He's a very beautiful youth. He puts his flowers down carefully on the table. He looks at his watch. He notices the things on the table. And he goes to the table and starts kissing Aurora's accessories. He takes the cloud in both his hands and kisses it. He kisses the gloves. He kisses the fan. And he is very conscious about his physical appearances. So he takes the mirror from the table to make sure of his tie. He is looking at his watch again, and she comes in. She is dressed for the theatre as they were planning to watch the play Candida. She wears many diamonds. She has an air of being a young and beautiful woman, but she's a very ordinary South Kensington female of about 37. And Aurora is very angry that she has lost the poems given to her by Henry, her lover. She believes that her sister in law must have taken it. The poems have Aurora written all over. As the name is rare in London, everyone will be able to identify her easily. She says there must be a law that a man's sisters shouldn't enter their home once their brother is married. So she thinks all sisters in laws are bad. She fears that the poems would be given to her husband, Teddy. However, Henry is not worried. He wants her to leave her husband. And Henry thinks first they will go to the theatre and see Candida. Candida is a play by George Bernard Shaw itself, and it is a story of a triangular love affair too. Aurora thinks that Candida is a drama that created all these problems because she feels the play put lot of unwanted stuff into her head, and she thought herself just like Candida and Henry as Eugene of the play. Just like how young lovers imagine themselves as hero and heroine and misunderstands life to be romantic as against reality. Aurora asks Henry to tell Teddy that those poems were addressed to some other Aurora. At first, Henry is unwilling, but later agrees. Teddy comes in and Aurora leaves. When Aurora leaves, he asks whether Henry had written the poems. Henry says that he had written the poems to Aurora, the goddess of dawn. He had given her the poems only because they had the name Aurora in them. Henry tells Teddy that Henry never had the slightest of feelings for Aurora. Hearing this, Teddy becomes angry. Teddy loves Aurora so much that he cannot imagine anyone speaking badly about her. He cannot imagine why Henry doesn't admire her. Teddy tells Henry that most men in Kensington had great love for her. They thought that she was the smartest, handsomest, the cleverest, and most attractive woman. He cannot imagine why Henry doesn't admire her. And Teddy attacks Henry. Aurora rushes into the room to stop the fight, and she warns Teddy that Henry is a prize fighter. Henry becomes furious and confesses that Henry had written the poems to Aurora, and he loves Aurora. Hearing this, the husband is happy and promises to print the collection of poems that Henry had written. Teddy suggests that they shall call the collection How He Lied to Her Husband, and it serves as the title of the play also. So that's how the play ends. Now let's look into the major characters. Teddy Bombas is a businessman, robust, thick-necked, well-groomed city man. Robust meaning healthy. Thick-necked meaning very proud and formal. So he's a well-behaved city man. He has a strong chin, so that shows his physique, and credulous mouth. Credulous meaning willing to believe or trust too readily. So he is gullible in nature. He is unromantic, yet dearly loves his wife Aurora. Teddy is a man who wants his wife to be admired by all. He sees no harm in others praising or writing poems to her. That's why Teddy doesn't feel anything wrong about Henry's poems dedicated to Aurora, and that evokes humor in the play. Aurora, Mrs. Bumpus, is the wife of Teddy, and she is in love with Henry. She is unhappy with her husband because she thinks that her husband, Teddy, is not romantic. And she hates her sisters in law. Aurora is a young and beautiful woman of about 37 who is an ordinary South Kensington female. Henry Abjohn is a typical romantic lover. He is in love with Aurora, he's a poet, is a very beautiful youth of 18. To conclude, How He Lied to Her Husband is a farcical play with humor and irony. It is filled with Shaw's clever and wit dialogues. Shaw satirizes the conventional or traditional notions of love and marriage prevalent in the society at that time. Teddy disrupts the conventional narrative by responding to the love triangle in an unexpected manner. He sees no harm in others praising or writing poems to his wife Aurora. And his response indeed evokes humor in the play. I hope you find this video useful. Thank you so much for listening.